Welcome to the Sociology Tutor channel, tutorial and revision sessions for A Level Sociology students. My name's Tom. Today's session is going to be on Malinowski's view of religion. So I'm going to explain Malinowski's view as you'd expect and give you 4 evaluations, 2 for and 2 against, which you can use in your answer. At the end of the video, I'm going to explain why I think Malinowski is a really helpful thinker to go into the exam with and why I think he's, for me, the best thinker in terms of functionalism, the most applicable to today's society. So let's begin by thinking about what is the key question that functionalists ask. So Malinowski is a functionalist thinker, and functionalists are always questioning what function, what job does an institution do for society. So for example, what role or job does religion do which benefits the whole of society? What function does it have? And the key need in society is social order from a functionalist perspective. So they would argue, obviously, society would break down, it would disintegrate unless we had social order. So that's the key need. And what we're thinking about is how does religion contribute to that? And from Malinowski's perspective, much like Durkheim, he believes it does this by creating social solidarity. But it creates social solidarity in a different way. You can go back to the video I did on functionalism, which covers Durkheim and Bella, and in it you'll hear me describe how Durkheim argues social solidarity is created by religion creating a shared identity in society, a shared set of morals, a collective conscience, etc. Malinowski approaches it in a slightly different way. He argues religion performs psychological functions. What he means by this is religion takes away anxiety, stress, etc. And if these emotions were allowed to spread through society, then there would obviously be a crisis in society. People would, come into conflict with one another. There would be a breakdown of society. So religion creates social solidarity or maintains social solidarity by making sure those troublesome emotions that we all experience at time to time don't overwhelm people. So anxiety, anger, fear, etc. There are 2 types of situation in which religion performs these psychological functions which reduce anxiety and stress and create social solidarity in society. Now, the first type of situation is uncontrollable and uncertain events. Now, it's fairly obvious by their nature, those sorts of events can cause anxiety for people, and by reducing the anxiety and giving people a sense of control, religion takes away those feelings and creates a sense of social solidarity in society. So there is going to be more social order, a sense of togetherness, etc. Malinowski did a lot of research with the Trobriand island people. So they live in the Western Pacific, and he spent a lot of time studying their way of life. So he was an anthropologist, so someone who goes to study, other societies. What he found was when they went lagoon fishing, which is usually shallower water, sometimes it can be inland, and it was very safe, they didn't do any rituals at all. The way they caught the fish when they went lagoon fishing was to poison them and cast out some nets, and then the fish swam into them. So it was very safe, very predictable. There was very little risk to anyone's life, and it was very certain. So there was no anxiety around lagoon fishing. In contrast, when people went ocean fishing, they practiced something he described as canoe magic. So they practiced rituals which gave them a sense of control over the events. Now, as you obviously are aware, by nature, ocean fishing out on the ocean, much more dangerous, much more uncertain, and obviously people would have lost their lives doing it. So the canoe magic, the rituals practiced before the fishermen went out with the whole community, would have created a sense of social solidarity. It would have given everyone a sense of togetherness. It would have reduced the anxiety and tension of the people that stayed on the shore, and it would have given the fishermen a sense of control over what was happening. So we can see here how Malinowski has come to this conclusion that with the lagoon fishing, which was safe and predictable, there was no reason to practice any type of ritual because there was no anxiety. But when there was the anxiety, the uncertainty around ocean fishing, then canoe magic was practiced, and what that did was take away that anxiety, create social solidarity on the island, and therefore religion performed the function of maintaining social order because people felt safer and more in control of what they were doing. The second type of situation in which religion performs a psychological function is life crises, marriages, births, deaths. All of these events have the potential to cause social disruption in society, for people to be anxious. Obviously, they might be dealing with strong emotions around any of these. And what the rituals associated with religion do is give meaning to these experiences. So any social disruption which does happen is minimized because the rituals provide a sense of social solidarity, a sense of togetherness. So Malinowski argued that religion's existence in society is essentially down to death. Death is obviously such a disruptive moment in people's lives, and without religion to create that sense of social solidarity, for example by going to a funeral or some sort of death ritual or rites in other religions, there would be complete chaos. There would be social disruption for the individual, social disruption for wider society, and that would lead to a breakdown of social order. So the rituals associated with death create social solidarity in the community, and they help people cope with death, often by telling followers that there is life after death. So it helps actually deny in some ways the existence of death. So it creates this social solidarity. We can see here again that religion is creating social solidarity by helping people deal with psychologically challenging events, which, if religion didn't exist, they would cause, huge social disruptions in society. So what are some of the evaluations we can make of Malinowski? One of the positive evaluations of Malinowski is that death rituals, funerals, are still the norm in society. So roughly 600,000 people die each year in society, and only 2,000 people don't have a funeral or some sort of ritual associated with their death. Now, some of these may be less religious than they were historically, but it's hard to deny that these rituals still take place, and I would imagine for many people they still perform some of the functions that Malinowski is talking about. So in your answers you could highlight the fact that his key idea around life crisis, particularly death, there are still rituals associated with them. On the flip side, a negative evaluation is that the number of rituals most people engage in society are greatly reduced. Marriages today are often not religious ceremonies for the majority of people. Most marriages don't take place in a religious institution. So outside of what we've mentioned with funerals, perhaps there isn't as much evidence that rituals help during times of life crisis or resolve psychological stress in that way. The second positive evaluation we can make of it is that marginalised groups are more likely to be religious. Now, marginalised means people are on the margins of society. They have less opportunities. They may be experiencing racism, poverty, a whole range of reasons where someone may have less opportunities. Now, by nature, those groups are potentially going to experience more uncertain lives because they don't have the opportunities that more privileged people may have. And we know those groups are more religious. So it may be, if we think about Malinowski's ideas, part of that religious worship is to help cope with some of the uncertainty and the anxiety that people will experience. The final negative evaluation of Malinowski is that science has taken away almost all uncertainty in life. Most people's lives are extremely predictable, and science has really helped us control most of the events that Malinowski talks about as life crisis. So therefore it's hard to reconcile, it's hard for us to balance his idea with modern society. Well done, thanks for listening to the episode. If you want more information about functionalism, I'll put a link in the description below, and I'll also put links to Marxism and feminism videos at the end once I've published them. So well done for listening. Let me know if there's anything you don't understand in the comments. Take care.